Introduction. Skydiving in the office. Work doesn't have to be soul-crushing. I was walking my dogs yesterday listening to an audio version of The Lion Tracker's Guide to Life by Boyd Vardy. He grew up on a game preserve in South Africa where he learned how to track animals in the bush from local experts. Vardy applies the wisdom and skills he honed from those experiences to his writing, coaching, and workshops. It's an inspiring and insightful perspective on personal development. In the book, Vardy describes people coming to his workshops as half dead from soul-crushing corporate jobs. His impression isn't wrong. It's one shared by many in the self-help space. A lot of us are walking around less than thrilled with life, feeling like being in the office is death. And Vardy offers the contrasting glimpse of how lion tracking is life. I found myself easily agreeing, yet it occurred to me that my work was showing me another facet of this. Corporate jobs could crush your spirit, while skydiving or surfing makes you feel alive. Danger forces us to be present, and being present is being in touch with life. I just got back from scuba diving with sharks, and it was exhilarating. While there's a ton of truth in the contrast between working in corporate life and something like scuba diving, this is also a mind trap. Most of us didn't grow up on a game preserve, or near a surf spot, or with a $3,000 mountain bike to race down ski slopes with. I grew up on Long Island. Our ski slope was Bald Hill. To survive, most of us need to get a job or start a business. We work for promotions. If you live in the United States, you need health insurance through an employer or your kids won't see adulthood. Most of us live within the boundaries of what Boyd Vardy might consider mundane. My perspective has a slight adaptation. I believe in the immediacy and the danger of life in every moment. There are opportunities to feel alive and on the knife's edge right here, right now. For example, take a job you aren't qualified for. Step on a stage in front of 6,000 people and share your perspective. Speak truth to power. Disagree with a room full of colleagues. Be vulnerable with your significant other. Give an employee constructive, honest feedback. Start a business. Make art. Put down your phone, take a deep breath, and experience whatever's here and now. I swear, your nerve endings will tingle like you're standing at the door of the plane waiting to skydive when you set a difficult boundary or even ask for a date. Life is now, wherever you are. Life is only soul-crushing if you decide it is. You may be in a job you don't like. You may desire something more impactful. I did. I changed careers. I became an executive coach when I was 50, risking my finances and all I had built, because I wanted to make a difference. I had witnessed the unspoken agreement we all are making to be in the 1%. I saw the broken marriages, the poor health, addiction, and even death from the stress of our soul-crushing relationship with success. I don't disagree with Boyd Vardy. I just know we can make the shift without having to do extreme, dangerous things or risking everything we care about. To that end, this leadership book is about living life to the fullest, creating robust relationships, having powerful impact, and savoring a satisfying life every day. Your skydiving is showing up your best for those who count on you. Your lion tracking will be living your values every day. Your bonsai pipeline will be realizing your full potential. What got you here won't get you where you want to go. You know it. You've been successful just the way you are for a long time, probably since high school. You've outworked, relied on your subject matter expertise, your charm, niceness, or your bull in the china shop ways of doing things. What got you here has been pretty good so far, and it is holding you back. Your inability to let go of details, holding you back. You're not paying attention to the details, holding you back. Your cutthroat way of dealing with the other team leads, holding you back. Your inability to hold people accountable, holding you back. Your affability, holding you back. You're not speaking up to the boss. You're speaking up way too much. You're micromanaging. You're burning the candles at both ends. Your lack of self-confidence, your know-it-allness, your inability to give credit, your need for recognition. It's all holding you back. So if the things that got you where you are no longer serve you, now what? There are 3 questions to ask yourself. What do I need to leave behind? Where do I need to level up? Who do I need to be? It's daunting, I know. Too many people can't even ask the questions above, much less let go of what has worked for so long as part of the answer. You know these people. You've worked for them. Those folks who just don't mature into their new role or the level of responsibility. You work around them. You get things done in spite of them. You don't want to be them. Let me show you what I mean. The following are a couple of conversations I've had with CEOs about their high achievers. Mark. John is a rock star. He has more industry and institutional knowledge than my entire leadership team. He has great ideas and almost always knows the right path. But getting him to speak up is almost impossible. I want him to head up a new acquisition next year, but I can't if he doesn't speak up in leadership meetings. Or another one. Mark, I want Sherry to be our next CFO as the current one transitions out. She knows the business inside and out, has our back on everything, but works herself into a stressed state. She's a lovely person, but snaps at her people and the others on the leadership team. I can't get her to let go of some of the day-to-day to focus on the strategic initiatives we need for this next phase of growth. In both those conversations, basically, they're asking for their high achiever to become more of an effective leader. John and Sherry are recognized for what got them here and are now being asked to acquire new skills to get to the next level. I interviewed David Klein, co-founder of the MGMT Accelerator on the Rising Leader podcast, about the importance of leadership skills, and here's something surprising that he mentioned. There are studies from very legitimate organizations that net out the failure rate of managers, whether you're talking about brand new managers all the way up to the C-suite. The 18-month failure rate is around 60%. It's worse than a coin flip that you'll still be allowed to lead that team 18 months from now. Then there's another stat, which is most people leave their jobs because they dislike their manager. Yet, we know that in order to drive societal improvements, to give employment to people, we achieve more together than apart. When we put people together, we need leaders. To David's point, the good news is that leadership is a learned skill, as my friend Alyssa Cohn says in her book, From Startup to Grown Up, Grow Your Leadership to Grow Your Business. Alyssa shares story after story of entrepreneurs and founders who start businesses without the experience they need at the outset, and how she guides them through the different stages of growing their business. Like you, they learn on the job. Here's a story Alyssa shares in her book about the learning curve of leadership. When I spoke to Susie Battis, founder of Poo-Pourri and one of the 80 richest self-made women in the U.S. according to Forbes, about imposter syndrome, Susie said, "I don't have imposter syndrome. I am an imposter. I've never run a company this size before. We're all doing things for the first time and figuring it out. So give yourself a break and embrace the journey." When I read this in Alyssa Cohn's book, I couldn't help but see the parallel challenges of running a fast-growing company and moving up the ladder in a large organization. You can listen to my full discussion with Alyssa Cohn on episode 8 of the Mastering Overwhelm podcast. Effective leadership starts with you. I interviewed Jefferson K. Rogers, CEO of JKR Windows, about his growth journey as a leader. And this is what he told me. I realized I needed to change, to grow as a leader in those moments when I would blow people out of the water and make them feel like shit, even when I had good intentions. Because of the reactive and emotional way that I went about it, it changed my dynamic with that person or with the entire group of people. I was ultra sensitive to how it was affecting my relationships in my business and the direction that I wanted it to go. So each step of the way, I've read hundreds of books, mostly on leadership and communication. I never wanted to make people feel that way again ever in my life. I would prefer that I handle this better next time, stay regulated, stay composed, and be thoughtful in the way that I handle these situations. Up-leveling is an internal job first and a skills sharpening job second. For every challenge you want to face, conversation you need to have, an outcome you want to influence, we will absolutely discuss tools and strategies. Here's the first shift. When things don't go your way, it's easy to blame. So instead of blaming, when faced with a situation that needs a new or different response, ask yourself, what part have I played in creating this situation? Who am I being? What am I believing? How am I speaking? What am I willing and not willing to do? What am I willing to give up? What am I willing to embrace? Don't worry, as we work through the 4 parts of the book, I will give you enough practice that the above questions and asking them of yourself will become second nature. Leaders take 100% responsibility for themselves, their teams, and the circumstances they find themselves in, whether or not it's their fault. You may balk at this assertion. That's okay. Resistance and uncomfortable feelings are a feature, not a bug, when you're leveling up. Every expansion comes with resistance. You will be moving out of your comfort zone and the old ways of being. Your ego may chafe when I ask you to say, I got this, to something that wasn't even your fault, rather than to blame. Answering the above questions for yourself puts you in the driver's seat. You retain your power. It will help you understand yourself in any given situation and give you the direction you need to challenge yourself. Leaders grow from the challenge. How this book is structured. The book is written in 4 sections. Leading up, becoming a trusted advisor. Leading across, leading on a team of strong peers. Leading your team, success through others. Leading you. Leading you is last intentionally. I know it's a little strange, but it works. We'll use the interactions with your boss, peers, and team as a mirror for the internal shifts and actions you need to take in your journey to becoming a more effective leader. Think of it as on-the-job training. By the time we get to leading you, you will have done much of the work in real-world situations. What will be left is some integration and the focus on topics like well-being, relationships, and fun. You've got to have fun, or why work this hard? You can also go directly to the section that applies to your challenge today. At work and at home, the ability to take an active role in creating the quality and direction of your life leads to greater levels of fulfillment and satisfaction. It's the lack of these 2 things that people cite when they say they're stuck in soul-crushing jobs and lives. This book is not about getting a soul-crushing job to suck less. It's about thriving in every situation and taking the steps to change the situation if you don't like it. Leadership is not just about the job, the team, or getting results. Whether you're in a group of people working a challenging problem, raising children, or in your romantic relationship, leadership is about taking ownership of whatever hand you're dealt, playing it well, and recreating it every day. Living a default life is hard. Creating the career, life, and relationships you want is also hard. But with leadership, it's possible. Choose your hard.